Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about object oriented programming concepts. In short, it is called as OOP concepts. This chapter's basic things we have already studied in first PUC. In this chapter, the topic that we are going to discuss is about overview of object oriented programming, and to understand concept of objects, classes and other related terminologies, and advantages of OOP, disadvantages of OOP, and to identify the different application areas. First, we'll see what is object oriented programming. An object oriented program consists of many well encapsulated objects and interacting with each other by sending messages. It is a concept that combines both the data and the functions that operate on that data into a single unit. It is called the object. I repeat, object oriented programming is a concept that combines both the data and the functions that operate on the data into a single unit. And here an object is a collection of set of data. So set of data known as a member data, and the functions that operate on these data known as a member function. Member data and a member function. And this approach is simple and improves software reusability. Here this OOP follows bottom-up design technique, and here class is the major concept that plays important role in this approach. Okay, it is a concept that combines both the data and functions that operate on that data into a single unit. We can say, for example, see here, we can say mobile is an object and its characteristics are color, weight, display, size, etc. Its features include price, voice call, video call, memory size, etc. Okay. Class. What is class? Class is a template that represents a group of objects which share common properties and relationships. Here OOP considers the characteristics as data and features as functions. This is about what? Object oriented programming. Next one, procedural oriented programming. In short, POP. See, a program in a procedural language is a list of instructions where each statement tells the computer to do something, and it focuses on procedure. Procedure is nothing but functions, and algorithm is needed to perform the derived computations. Okay, here in procedural language is a step-by-step execution of instructions. This is how you expect your program to be. You want it to be executed step by step in a definite procedure. In POP, importance is given to the procedures and the way they are organized and the data flows through them. While object-oriented languages, the focus is basically on objects. Here in POP, when program become larger, it is divided into function. Okay, when your program become larger, it is divided into function, and each function has clearly defined purpose. Okay, dividing the program into functions and module is one of the cornerstones of structured programming. Here object is a part of the problem which behaves differently in different situations. Examples given: C, Fortran. These are POP languages. Fortran means formula translation. We have methods inside classes which are similar to procedures in procedure oriented languages. So POP is a subpart of OOP. But OOP has method overloading, that is operator overloading, overriding, which is not present in a POP. But OOP is more secure as it has access specifiers like public, private and protected. Let's see the differences between procedural programming and object-oriented programming. In POP, large programs are divided into smaller programs known as functions. In OOP, see the difference, programs are divided into objects. There in POP, functions, here in OOP, objects. POP follows top-down approach in the program design. OOP follows bottom-up approach in the program design. And data may communicate with each other through functions in POP. In OOP, objects may communicate with each other through functions. And in POP, it is less data secure. OOP, it is more data secure. POP deals with the algorithms and OOP deals with the data. POP, it do not have any access specifiers, but OOP has access specifiers like private, public, protected. POP does not support overloading, but OOP supports overloading, function overloading and operator overloading. There are two types. Okay. In POP, functions are responsible for transforming from one form to another. Here data hiding is not possible. But here in OOP, data hiding is possible. Data is hidden, cannot be accessed by outside functions. Some of the examples for POP: C, Visual Basic, Fortran, Formula Translation, Pascal. For OOP, examples are C++, programming language, Java, VB.NET, C#.NET. These are the differences between procedural oriented programming language and object oriented programming language. Next, see the important concept of OOP. Okay, important concept of OOP, that is characteristics of OOP or components of OOP. The following are the major characteristics of OOPs. There are 9 major characteristics listed below. Objects, class, data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, overloading, polymorphism, dynamic binding, message passing. These are the major characteristics of OOP. We'll see one by one. First characteristic is objects. What is object? Objects are basic building blocks for designing programs. Objects are what? Basic building blocks for designing programs. The actual definition is what? An object is a collection of data members and associated member functions. I repeat, an object is a collection of data members and associated member functions. An object may represent a person, place or a table of data. Each object is identified by a unique name and each object must be a member of a particular class. For examples, apple, orange, mango. These are the objects of class fruit. Here fruit is a class name and apple, orange, mango. These are the objects of class fruit. See, in first example, class name is fruit, apple, orange, mango. These are data members or objects of a class fruit. Here in example 2, bird. Bird is class name. peacock, parrot, sparrow. These are what? Objects of class bird. Okay, objects or data members. These are data members of class bird. This is about what? Objects. Objects take up space in memory and have address associated with them. At the time of execution of a program, the objects interact by sending the messages to one another. The objects can interact with one another without having to know details of data or functions, member data or functions within an object. See here, both objects containing member data and member functions. Object 1 here, student, object 2, teacher. So both objects, student and teacher, containing member data and member functions. In object 1, student, data members are name, register number, codes. Member functions are get data of and display of. These are member functions. Similarly here in object 2, that is teacher, data members are name, subject, codes. Member functions get data of and display of. Second characteristic of OOP, that is classes. Classes. The objects can be made user-defined data types with the help of a class. What is class? A class is a collection of objects that have identical properties, common behavior and shared relationship. A class is a collection of objects that have identical properties, common behavior and shared relationship. Once class is defined, any number of objects of that class is created. Once class is defined, any number of objects of that class is created. So here classes are user defined data types and it can hold what? Both data and functions. Class can hold both data and functions. For example, say in real life we can see a car is an object. The car has attributes such as weight, color and methods such as drive and brake. So here the car has attributes such as weight, color and methods. Methods means here functions such as drive and brake. For example, planets, sun, moon. These are member of class solar system. Consider solar system as a class name and planets, sun, moon. These are member of class solar system. Okay. See. In C++, what are classes and objects? Classes and objects are the two main aspects of object-oriented programming. Okay, look at the following illustration to see the difference between the class and objects. In first example, class name is fruit and apple, banana, mango. These are the objects of class fruit. In second example, class name is car. Okay, and objects Volvo and Toyota. So finally, a class is a template for objects and an object is an instance of a class. When the individual objects are created, they inherit all the variables and functions from the class. Third characteristic, that is data abstraction. Data abstraction. Data abstraction refers to the process of representing essential features of an entity without including background details or explanations. I repeat, data abstraction is nothing but It is the process of representing essential features of an entity without including background details or explanations. Here, it permits the user to use an object without knowing its internal working. Okay. See, let us consider the same example of mobile phone. Here, the attributes include the color, Bluetooth, built-in camera, etc. Okay. We are not considering how the Bluetooth works or how the camera works or even how the circuit inside the mobile is designed and what is happening inside. But we are interested only in using the mobile and its features. So therefore it is required to know how to operate the mobile phone and its other features without knowing the background details of its design aspects. So it permits the user to use an object without knowing its internal working. That is about what? Data abstraction. Next one is data encapsulation. Data encapsulation. The wrapping of data and functions into a single unit, that is in class, is called data encapsulation. I repeat, the wrapping of data and functions into a single unit called as data encapsulation. Here it enables data hiding and information hiding. Okay, data hiding and information hiding. The data is not directly accessible to the outside world except for those functions which are wrapped in the class, that is data hiding. The data cannot be modified by an external non-member function of a class. So it is because of this feature that the data seems to be hidden. This is about data encapsulation. Wrapping of data and functions into a single unit is called as data encapsulation. It supports data hiding and information hiding. Inheritance. Next concept, inheritance. Definition is: inheritance is the process by which one object can acquire and use the properties of another object. Okay. It is the process by which one object can acquire and use the properties of another object. The existing class is known as a base class or a superclass, and the new class is known as a derived class or a subclass. Okay, base class and derived class. The derived class shares some of the properties of the base class. For example, consider father to son. Here, father is a base class and son is a derived class derived from base class father. So, the derived class shares some of the properties of the base class, that is from father. Therefore, a code from a base class can be reused by a derived class. Okay, a code from a base class can be reused by a derived class. Inheritance can be classified into 5 forms. See here, there are 5 types in inheritance: single level inheritance, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, hybrid inheritance. These are the types of inheritance. You will learn much more about inheritance and its types in the next chapter, number 10. Okay. Next one, overloading. Overloading, it allows objects to have different meaning depending upon context. Overloading allows objects to have different meaning depending upon context. There are 2 types of overloading. One is operator overloading. Second one is function overloading. Let's see, what is operator overloading? when an existing operator operates on new data type. When an existing operator operates on new data type, it is called as operator overloading. Function overloading means two or more functions have same name but differ in the number of arguments or data type of arguments. Here in function overloading, two or more functions have same name. Okay, function name is same but different in the number of arguments or data type of arguments. This is nothing but function overloading. Therefore, it is said that function name is overloaded. Therefore, it is the process of defining same function name to carry out similar types of activities with the various data items. Next characteristic, that is polymorphism. Polymorphism. The ability of an operator and function to take multiple forms is known as a polymorphism. Ability of an operator and function to take multiple forms is known as a polymorphism. It can take multiple forms based on the type of arguments and number of arguments. Okay, it take multiple forms based on the type of arguments and number of arguments. For example, in addition of two numbers, addition operator, that is plus, results with a sum. Okay, whereas in case of strings, the operation is a string concatenation. Okay, in case of strings, the operation is string concatenation. In addition of two numbers, addition operator results with the sum. But in case of strings, the operation is a string concatenation. Here, it can take multiple forms based on the type of arguments and number of arguments. Okay. Polymorphism allows objects to have different internal structures to share the same external interface. It supports to implement inheritance to a great extent. And this picture shows how the single function name is used to handle types and different number of arguments. Here single function name is paint_off. Okay. Okay. Paint_off. It is used to handle types and different number of arguments. Paint, house paint, college paint, furniture paint, fabric paint. These are the different number of arguments. Okay. Here object, house and college, fabric, furniture. Dynamic binding. Next characteristic of OOP is dynamic binding. Before discuss about dynamic binding, let's see what is binding. Okay, what is binding? Binding is the process of connecting one program to another. Binding is the process of connecting one program to another. Then what is dynamic binding? It means a code associated with a procedure call is known only at the time of program execution. Okay, dynamic binding is nothing but code associated with a procedure call is known only at the time of program execution. It is associated with the polymorphism and inheritance. Next, message passing. In object-oriented programming concepts, processing is done by sending message to objects. Processing is done by what? Sending message to objects. A message for an object is request for execution of a procedure. Here a message for an object is request for execution of procedure. Therefore a message invokes a procedure in the receiving object to generate the desired output. Okay. It involves specifying the name of object and the name of the function, that is message, and the information to be sent. Information is output. Okay. For example, consider college.marks of result. Okay. Here college object marks message function. Okay. Result is information. Let us consider that we have created an object by name college and we have calculated the result, that is information of students, by taking their marks as message into consideration. Then it is possible to pass message to this object as represented in this example. Okay. Advantage of OOP. Some of the advantages are listed below. See students, the programs are modularized based on the principles of classes and objects. Programs are modularized based on the principles of classes and objects, and linking code and object allows related objects to share a common code. Okay, this reduces code duplication and code reusability, and it is easy and reduces software development time. So here creation and implementation of OOP code is easy and it reduces software development time. And the concept of data abstraction, it separates object specification and object implementation. Next one, data encapsulated along with the functions. Therefore, external non-member function cannot access or modify data, thus providing data security. Easier to develop complex software because complexity can be minimized through inheritance. And OOP can communicate through message passing, which makes interface description with the outside system very simple. These are the some of advantages of OOP. Next are disadvantages. That is limitations of OOP. The main disadvantages of using object oriented programming are, say, OOP software is not having set standards. Here OOP's software development, debugging and testing tools are not standardized, and it is not suitable for all types of programs. Okay, not suitable for all types of programs. And to convert a real world problem into an object oriented model is very difficult. So polymorphism and dynamic binding also requires processing time due to overload of function calls during runtime. Okay, these are the some of the limitations of OOP. Last concept, applications of object oriented programming. These are the some of different application areas. Computer graphic applications. Object oriented programming approach is an easier method to design and implement programs. Okay, and the programs are easier to upgrade and modify. easier to upgrade and modify. Next application, OOP is used in CAD/CAM software. So it is an easier method to design and implement different programs through different softwares. Third application is object-oriented database. Next one, user interface design such as Windows. The graphical user interface design for Windows operating system using OOP is the most interesting feature of programming. Real-time systems, simulation and modeling, artificial intelligence and expert systems. These are the different application areas of object-oriented programming. This chapter ends here. Let's recall whatever we have studied in this session. See, first one, object-oriented programming. Studied what is object-oriented programming. It is a programming concept that uses objects to design applications and computer programs. And the OOP uses several techniques such as inheritance, abstraction, modularity, polymorphism and encapsulation. Next, object. Object represents data and associated member functions as a single unit. Class. Class is a way of grouping objects having similar characteristics. Next characteristic of OOP, abstraction. It refers to the representation of essential features of an object as a program object. An abstract class defines an interface but does not provide implementation details. No background explanations. Encapsulation. It is a way of combining data and associated functions into a single unit, and encapsulation implements what? Abstraction. Next, studied about inheritance. It is the capability of a class to inherit the properties of another class. The class that inherits the properties from another class is known as derived or subclass, and the class that provides its properties to subclass is known as a base class. Polymorphism. It is ability of a function to have same name and multiple forms. Okay, it is ability of a function to have same name and multiple forms. Message passing. The processing of data in object-oriented programming is carried out by sending messages to objects. Thank you.